Hi, now let's do my trade review from yesterday, last evening. This trade was on the 4-hour chart. Same kind of situation. I mean, I shouldn't say same as if you just watched the last video, but so we have a strong push up here, right? Obviously, we have that strong push down, really nice bull surprise here, and then probably expecting another leg up from here. We end up getting that leg up from here, and now where are we at? Potential two legs up. So it is potential that we are um, going to not get a third leg up. We might just exhaust and kind of dump back down from here. But it's reasonably likely that we're going to continue to push up. And when we get this sideways consolidation near the high of this, I think it makes it more likely that we're going to push up. So we're looking for longs. Um, Trades are not really manifesting that well on the chart. Like obviously this was not a nice candle to see following this nice push. This is a candle that lets you know there's probably some exhaustion. By the way, this move is very small compared to this move, right? Let's even take a fibbo. This ends up being about a 0.5% move. How about if we take from this low to this high? Yeah, this one ended up being a 1.16, and from down here, it ends up being exactly 1 to 1. So on an Elliott wave standpoint of a 1, 3, 5, the 1 and the 5 being equal in length, and the 3 being 1.618 of those, like that's a really good look, right? So definitely possible that this could be exhausted, that this could be done, but I don't think we're really like I don't think a lot of trading is considering this as a one. I think we're very much considering this as a very sharp move that's having good follow through, albeit sideways. And that's the other thing. This sideways follow through, very sideways follow through, makes it very likely that this could be final flag. And so when we see this rejection bar, I think the best thing to do is to be patient and to wait for some sort of setup to present itself. So we get nice 2 bars down with a little um, bounce here, which by the way is a bounce off of the previous high in the range. I'm going to clear some of this stuff off. And then it has not the best follow through. Ideally, you would like to see this closing on its high, and really ideally, you would like to see it closing even higher too. Um, and then this also doesn't have great follow through. So we get this bar that pushes down. I think when you get these three like this, I think it's pretty safe to assume. I mean, you could just get the next bar to go straight up, so you probably do have to buy above this bar. But given the strength of this, I think it's reasonable to expect that we might get another leg down, at least into a double bottom here, if not push back down. And obviously, once we push underneath this line, it's much more reasonable that we're going to push to the bottom here. So not a great not a great setup, especially given that how close this is here to right here. It doesn't feel as likely that we're just going to go straight up in a line here. Probably feels like we want to shake some excess off a little bit and then maybe try and take a pump a little bit later in the day to kind of get some follow through. And of course, like I said, we're still nervous that this could be the last push to the high. And if we are talking about those Elliott wave um, waves, we might be expecting a B wave, like an A down B, and then a C before we get anything else. So expecting probably to be buying this level here if we are able to get it. But otherwise, probably just need to be patient until we find some sort of decent setup. So we end up getting these two down, one down here, two down here, and then rallying again. And if I'm not mistaken, this rally ends up taking out these highs here. I think honestly, like I think the way that I took the trade was let me replay here. One down, possible second leg down, right? And then this small bar down here. If you are trading a type of trading range here, which you could kind of say this is a trading range, maybe kind of thing, then this is a decent place to take along above this bar. I think recognizing that, I'm looking for some decent follow through here, and I think this is basically an outside. This is effectively outside up, and so yeah, I think this was a decent enough setup. that, you know, hoping that we're going to go straight up from here, but looking at it like this within this channel, I don't think it's the most reasonable expectation. So maybe a little bit premature on the entry. But yeah, we get this next bar that looks good, and this is kind of the last bar of the 4 hour. So at this point, I decided to be patient and wait for the 4 hour because we're kind of developing a potential II. And if this 4 hour bar closes red, I'm probably not going to want to take the trade. But if it closes green like this, then I'm a little bit more inclined to potentially take a trade on a break of this high with a stop below here, and I think it'll be a reasonably good trade. Again, possibly a final flag here, just because we're having this sideways consolidation and this II. Don't really like to take convictive trades out of an II. You should be more expecting that that a pump out of the region might get faded. But that's not a good enough reason to not take the trade. When you get a good setup, you should take the trade, right? So this ends up looking decent, and then the subsequent bar, which is actually daily open as well. And let's take a look at daily at this time. This is getting a good close here, right? Technically, daily, you're not supposed to take the trade until we take the high, but because we have a decent price action entry on a lower time frame, which is that 4 hour time frame, and on this 1 hour time frame, it's not looking too bad. Let's see what it looks like on the 15. Yeah, this is. Let me get into the 15 in a second. On the 1 hour, it's looking possibly kind of decent, and on the 4 hour, it's looking like a potential play. So we wait for the close. We close nicely on the high, and the subsequent candle takes out the high, not on this exchange, but on my exchange of that 4 hour. So it triggers the long, and as you can see here, this is how that kind of ends up closing. But since it triggers the long, I decided to start putting in entries. What is it called? Orders. And yeah, the reason I wanted to talk about the 15-minute is because on the 15-minute, you can definitely see that there is a channel. The channel has enough bullish strength that I'm hopeful and somewhat expectant that we are just going to take off, but this is not to be unexpected. Excuse me. What is nice is that we do break through whatever type of bearish trend line you want to draw here. So that's the type of strength that bears should not really be allowing, but at the same time, we now have a double top bear flag here that causes this really strong dump. Our stop, of course, is underneath this bar, and as we get closer to it, I decide to move it to being underneath this bar, underneath this low. Stops are one of the things that I'm really trying to work on lately, and I'm trying to give my moves a little bit more room to run. And so there was definitely a time during this that I was feeling very nervous that my stop could be getting run. But I decided to be patient. I decided to be, trusting of that stop, and kind of expecting that on this daily open, like this type of fake outs kind of happen, and like maybe we'll see something like this kind of thing, and then we'll end up going from there. And this type of action would make me a lot more confident as well that we might get a sustained push as opposed to just something like this. Because this type of stuff happens all the time, right? Or like even worse would be, and then who knows? Like, I don't even care what happens after this, right? Because I'm probably going to be stopped out. But yeah, so the next candle gives us exactly that candle that we wanted to see. It barely takes a new low, and then it bounces from there. It does not threaten the stop. I don't know if it threatens the. I think it doesn't threaten the stop. I think this is the stop level, and it doesn't threat of the inside bar. Obviously, our stop was on the first inside bar, was below the first inside bar. But yeah, and then we get another little bit of a small bar, yet another small bar. And now let's take out some of these things so that we can take a look. Very good small bars as well. This is outside up, so this is a good feeling. potentially channeling here, and we kind of don't want to, depending on how long the channel goes, like we can expect possibly that eventually the channel might break down to the downside, but this was a good sign that we did try to break down and then we were able to close high up. If I'm not mistaken, I think this comes towards the end of the hour as well. Like I think we were down red and then we rallied towards the end. And again, this is a 4-hour close here as well. So looking at the 4-hour close, um, we end up closing kind of near the midpoint, which is okay. It's not the best. Obviously, we would have liked to close green or ideally even above this level, but we're a little bit nervous. But this is effectively a third inside bar. On this exchange, it is a third inside bar, so this is an I. When you get that I, now you have to really, really know that if we are going to break above, if we are going to break out, make sure you're taking profits quick. So I don't know if I've mentioned yet, but my sizing here is 11x, I want to say, 11 or 12x leverage. And I have profit targets beginning at 41,740 or something like that. Let me put the levels. In fact, I have a target up here. So actually, let me say this. Initially, we have a 10x size, and when we increase that to 11 or 11, 12x, I end up putting in another order right here at 41,600 thereabouts. Just for that, just for those 1-2x's, but then majority of our orders, which I think we have in fifths, so I think 1/5 of the orders are here, 1/5 is like here at like 865, 1/5 is like somewhere in 900s. Honestly, I want to say low 900s, like 920, 930. And then we have 1/5 at like 42,100, and then we have 1/5 at like 42,200. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So these are our 5/5, and then we add an extra about 1/5 size of the thing, which now makes it. I mean, it's really not that size. I would say the position that we added here is 1/2 of this. So if this is a 2x size, is it a 2x size? Yes, this is a 2x. Each of these orders represent 2x leverage. This is 1x here. Okay. So anyway, we get this nice bar here. I'm feeling a little bit more decent about it now that we have an I expecting. And at this point, I probably do need to move some of these orders like down here. I should probably like try and close everything down a little bit down here, just because we are now nervous that we're going to get the type of candle that, probably not on this candle, but like some point in here, like maybe we continue up here and then we're going to get one candle up here and then it's going to end up closing down here, and possibly taking our stop out. So we do need to be careful about that. So this is that bar, yeah, the subsequent bar that tries to take a low, and now we are very much at risk here. We are nervous. Oh, I don't want to show all of that stuff yet. Yeah. We are nervous because if we break below this level, our stop is potentially at risk. I could very easily see us doing something like this, like having this trend line to the downside, and this being like a follow through of like this, and then possibly even bouncing back from there and then going up. That would be devastating. I would be so fucking annoyed. Oops, sorry, excuse my language. But yeah, I would be super annoyed, and I'm super annoyed at the possibility of this. Like, I think at this point my average entry is 41,380. I started picking some up close to 41,470, and then I slowly am adding on. I think my last ad was like 41,281 or something like that. And this is to have our full 10x position, and then once we see some strength is when I add the last part that is to close at this 41.6. I'll show you when we get that one. So anyway, let's take a look at this upside down, just so I can show you the bearish idea. The bearish idea is basically one attempt to push it down, another attempt to push it down, and then we have a bear breakout. And this is like a bear flag, and then we're getting a second bear follow through. And one of the things that we're nervous about is that a 1-to-1 will 100% take out our stop, because our stop is at like 41,130. I didn't actually do this fib yesterday, but I kind of like eyed it I suppose what I could have done was moved my stop to being below this level, but I'm not a big fib trader, so I don't really like to do things like that. I was just kind of more so nervous that, we're gonna break down below our stop. But based on the size, excuse me, of this bar, based on the size of this bar, I was hopeful that like that 1-to-1 would be right here, just at 41.2, and it would not threaten our stop in any way, which is a little bit lower. So anyway, we get this bar, sucks. It's kind of not a great bar to see. And like I said, we have this reversal bar here that's causing this pullback. That's causing this pullback that ends up leading to this double top bear flag, and I'm very nervous about the double top bear flag. One of the saving graces is that despite the double top bear flag, we have a very clear sideways trading range here, so it's much less likely that we are going to break out of this level to a really strong degree. But of course, because we're in a sideways trading range, it's always reasonable that we kind of do this, like spike out of it, run the stops, and then right back into it, and you have to chase your entry back up to the highs, right? So a little bit nervous about that. But then we get this gorgeous, 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 gorgeous candle, which, like I said, the same way that we were channeling here, I didn't say this, I guess, but this is what I was thinking at the time last night. We got this channel here. We kind of were also a little bit channeling here, and we got this push down. So I was hoping that we'll try and get ourselves back into the channel, and that's exactly what we did. I think the channel is a little bit easier to see on some of the higher time frames. Certainly on this hourly chart, this outside up breaks down, and then we take a new high, which is beautiful, gorgeous, exactly what we want to see. And I believe this is where I put the order in. I believe this is where I put an order in for like 41.3, 330 or something like that, and I think we bounced at like 41.350. Yeah, I think somewhere around here I put an order in for like here. This is obviously a different level, but yeah, like on Bybit, this region was 41.355, I want to say the low was, and I had my order in at like 41.330 or something like that. So it ends up not filling here. And we get this. So I'm not going to do this on the 3-minute. We end up pushing up to 41.6 and then coming back down, and I actually get that filled on this candle. Yet again, let's remove the drawings here. This is now looking like just this kind of square bullshit, and I'm expecting, because of the strength and the rally of this, that we're probably not going to take the stop. But if there's any bar that's going to take the stop, it's going to be this nasty outside down bar. And if it kind of gives a follow through, I am half expecting, I'm going to be done here. But nevertheless, I retain my conviction in the long, because on Bybit this high is 41.600 exactly. So when I get that fill on the 41.320 or 330 or whatever it was, I move my take profit to like just under that, like 41.580 or something like that, just for that, because now I'm not feeling as convicted. I was feeling quite convicted here, right? I was like, yeah, I want this fill. When we get this fill here, I'm not nearly as convinced, and I am nervous, of course, about the stop getting taken. So I just put the level here in case we kind of run it back here and then continue to dump down lower. And the next bar is this weird strong pump bar here, and I believe that why does it do like this? Yeah, we have this. Let me reverse real quick. Let me take it back for a second. Yeah, let's exit the replay mode. Let's get back into the replay mode right here. And yeah, the way this ends up closing is we did take a high, but we do close still above this, which is kind of like a little bit of a trend line. So I think this is the part, even though the candle close sucks, this is the part where I'm most convinced that we're going to definitely hit my profit targets. But this is also the time that I should have been most convinced that we will only have a very small opportunity to get that, and that I should expect that we'll pump up here and then close down here in like a nasty Darth Maul outside down type of bar. This is kind of the way I am and should be feeling. And oops, back on the 1 hour chart, we end up getting, we end up just pumping straight from here, pumping straight up through here. I think I'm like watching. I'm watching and waiting for this 1 hour close to see how it closes, to see what types of conviction I should have. Should I still be excited about the trade and eager? But throughout all of this, I fell asleep. I fell asleep with my laptop just on my belly or whatever in bed, and I end up waking up to right before this 5 o'clock open, like 4:47, 4:48 or something like that. Um, like my dog jumped off the bed and my wife got startled or whatever, and like that woke me up. And I was like, okay, I'm going to bed now. But I was like, let me just check my trade real quick just to see, like, did we get stopped out off of this nasty bar, or did this kind of save the day and push us? And lo and behold, majority of my take profits have been hit, and we are now. Let's actually go to the bar replay right around here. I'm not going to replay it again, but yeah, I think we're somewhere around here, 445 around here. And given the strength that we're seeing, I move my orders up so I don't actually get the 42 ones one filled. I think it was like 42 155 or something like that. I don't actually get that one filled on this pump. I was kind of messing with it, and I moved them to be a little bit higher because I thought, it's possible that we might continue upward, because we're now having this nice strength on the hourly chart where we're really, really marching, right? Like this is outside up bar, and then there's almost no overlap between this bar and this bar. So it feels like this has to just be all bear stops getting busted, because we kind of we had this. This was the bar that told bears to get ready. We didn't break through it, but then this bar ends up closing as like kind of wicky, and you were kind of hoping that we are at the top of this sideways range, right? And that we busted out of the range and trying to get back in, and so possibly this could be it. And like on this very next candle, it could just be all the way down, and then bears will just have their day, right? But instead we go down. Oh, this isn't actually outside down. Okay, I don't know if it is on other exchanges, but it looks very. All right, I don't know if this is outside up. It looks like it goes outside on the bottom side and then pumps through. But basically, this is very, very strong candle. This is a candle letting you know, yo, if you're still in your trade, you got to be blown out. Like this stop gets blown out on this candle, and then this another candle just as strong. So I am feeling, as this 5 is about to open, that we might be continuing up, but in the same way. Like, and we also have a really strong convincing candle up here, but you need to break above that in order to have conviction that we're going to get yet another candle of the same, magnitude here that takes us to 43K. And I was thinking, yeah, based on the sideways momentum here, this would be a very reasonable place for a tweezer top, just like this tweezer pair, where this ends exactly what ends up happening happens. So thankfully, I was very fortunate to be awake at this time, and I have 2/5 of my position remaining, and I decide to close most of it on actually off the 1 minute chart here. We had this bar right here, really climactic here, really climactic follow through, but then this third bar is just overlapping this range entirely. This range right here is entirely overlapped by these 3 bars, and there's no, and this is a red bar trying to break down, no conviction to be busting up to the upside. So now I'm like, yeah, I think it's possible that we're going to be getting topping before 5 o'clock, and maybe we won't get an opportunity to close much higher. So, but then we get this this like outside up, even though it closes a doji, but then has good follow through here, good follow through here, good follow through here, good follow through here. Again, I get a little bit euphoric, even though we're kind of wedging a little bit. And then right here is where I'm like, I think we're done. On this candle exactly is where I'm like, I think the top is possibly in. And if it's not in, I think it's reasonable that we should this is where I start doing the new calculations where I'm like, the price is now 42,100. My stop is all the way down at 41,100, right? Like, surely I'm not going to risk $1,000 just to make 300. So I was like, okay, I either need to move my stop or I need to just take profits here. And I was trying to find a good place to move my stop to, and I ended up moving it to just underneath this consolidation here. Um, but nevertheless, I'm still risking $500 to get 300. So what I decided to do was to just take profit on 1/2 of my remaining position, which is 1/5 of my total position. At this level, and I wanted that price of 42,155 or 59 or whatever, and I ended up getting it at like 42,110 or something like that. So I was feeling at that time, but it's like now I feel great about it. And then I let the rest. I split the remaining 1/5 of position orders into one just above here at 42,250 and one a little bit higher at like 42,450. And the rationale behind that was, again, this bar is so strong. How strong is it? That if we do break the high, I would very much expect, even if we are going to get wicked, I would very much expect at the very least this 42.2 level to be hit, and if not enough strength to push up to 42.4. And the reason that I took these levels in the first place was basically because we kind of had some sort of confluence here where like this was a previous support turned resistance. So I figured, we'll try and tap that resistance and possibly bust through the resistance only to find sellers there and push it back down. So ultimately, 4/5 of my position get in nice profit, probably somewhere average price of like just under 42,000, maybe like 41,900-ish or something like that. And then 1/5 of the position ends up getting stopped out at 41,600. So all in all, a very good trade. I managed it well. I think it kind of could have gone either way here. I think I definitely entered a little early. Like I said, I entered on what was a channel, and I remember um, seeing during this channel, like there was a period, yeah, right here. I think this is the candle that I first take an entry on. And I remember thinking, these three bars are very heavily overlapping. But at the same time, it also looked like we wanted to go. We wanted to just bust out and start going. So that's why I started entering here. And then we ended up getting nice conviction all the way through here. And I half expected that at like the daily open, we were just going to pump. And we had this nice candle that closed here. And I figured if we break above this, we might just pump to 41.7 kind of thing. But because it was a channel, I was like, I'm not really convinced that we're going to break out to the upside. And I'm also not convinced that it's going to take us all the way to our take profits in the 42s, maybe just like here. So I think at this point I was willing to take most of the position off the table here and then reevaluate. But of course, this high never gets taken, and we put this nasty candle in, and that's where I end up filling majority of the rest of my position. I think probably at this point I was at 4x, maybe 4 to 5x position or leverage size, and then throughout the rest of this, I think by the end of here, I am fully in for the full 10x leverage. So I doubled my position size down here. So that's why my price went from like 41,480 to 41,380. So yeah, overall, pretty good trade. I think I probably got something like 1.5%, maybe not quite, maybe like 1.25%. Actually, wait, I can tell you exactly how much I got. Probably 1.25, 1.3% thereabouts total is what I ended up making on this trade. So pretty good one, pretty good trade. Good recognition of the landscape. And kind of determining that we probably weren't going to get too much sustained movement outside. Very fortunate to be awake at 5 in the morning, right on time, to adjust my offers and close at least 1/5 more. Because otherwise I would have gotten 2/5 stopped out. And if I had just woken up in the morning, like they would have gotten stopped out down here. It would have been fucking shitty. So very fortunate that I was able to get up in time to move my stop to underneath this consolidation. Like I said, this was the consolidation underneath which I moved my stop to. And of course, take half of the position, the remaining position off the table up here, instead of allowing that to also get stopped out. So yeah, good trade. The only thing I did not do well was the initial entry. I think it can be tough, especially like when you're coming into that daily close, expecting, we might just go straight up, like at least try and position yourself a little bit. So I think it's okay to do about half size position, or like, maybe a little bit less, and then to kind of continue to add when we see like good follow through here. And like, unfortunately, we were completely in here and not a great looking setup, and we had to wait for all of this to shed. So it wasn't exactly a straight trend trade like we were expecting and hoping for, but it ended up working out, and we had a great stop placement. Stop placement worked out great. Even the original stop placement never ended up getting run, but I think it was a better idea to put it a little bit lower, give it a little bit of breathing room. And of course, we were on our mark price stop now at this time, and yeah, ended up being a great trade. So I know this is 30 minutes and kind of sucks, but I think we went through as detailed as possible as we could on this one, and it ended up being a great trade. So thanks for watching.